taxi driver, I don't care. If you marry a taxi driver, I don't care. If you marry a taxi driver, I don't care. If you marry a taxi driver, I don't care. If you marry a taxi driver.
I hope you are warming up, because the food for thought I'm going to serve you here today is going to be very serious. So just keep warming up. We're almost there.
Kaikene Fred Wanko Ezudo Ezi Mwafosi Ajalebia Publisher African Lifestyle Magazine, Chicago.
If you collect 100 black ants and 100 fire ants and put them in a jar, nothing will happen. But if you take the jar, shake it violently, and leave it on the table, the ants will start killing each other. Red believes the black is the enemy, while black believes the red is the enemy, when the real enemy is the person who shook the jar. The same is true in society. Men versus women, black versus white, faith versus science, young versus old, etc. Before we fight each other, we must ask ourselves, who shook the jar?
Excellent question, Nigerians. Who shook the jar? I have a lot for you today. But today my focus is going to be on my Igbo brothers. Who shook the jar? Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Fred Wanko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on LNTV. And as always, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are around the world. Time after time after time, if you've been following me, you've heard me talk about bigots. And in the past, because of a lot of things that happened in Lagos and recently with Air Peace, you hear me talk about Yoruba bigots. But you also heard me repeatedly talk about Yoruba progressives. And you also heard me repeatedly say that bigotry is not Yoruba. There is a segment, very minority segment, but influential group within the Yorubas that are bigots, but most Yorubas are not. Unfortunately, a lot of times when you say these things, people tend to focus on the negative, because a lot of people make it seem like if I'm talking anti-Yoruba without remembering that I'm the one who keeps talking about Yoruba progressives. Well, today we're changing gear, we're shifting gears. We want to talk about Igbo bigots. And Igbo bigots do exist. And the reason I want to talk about Igbo bigots is that every time I turn on the news, the major news stations in Nigeria, or go into social media where you have progressives, I hear so many Yorubas vehemently come to the defense of Igbos, whether it's what happened in Lagos during the elections, whether it's what happened with Air Peace. And I say to myself, why is it that a lot of times when I'm on Igbo chat groups and I talk about Yoruba progressives, I hear people tell me, cut that nonsense out. There are no Yoruba progressives. But the reality is that not these days when everybody is screaming about Nnamdi Kanu, but while Nnamdi Kanu was going through his travails in 2014, 2015 until they attacked his family house in Umuahia and he escaped from Nigeria, except for Senator Enyinaya Baribe as a significant voice coming on TV and talking loudly. And lately, the man from Nnewi, what's his name? It will come to me, Dan Olasi. Those are the two significant voices in the past and currently that speak significantly on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not including his attorneys, that's their job. But regarding many elite Igbos and wealthy Igbos and big politicians in Igbo land who can really speak and make a difference, many of them are saying nothing because saying something will affect their income. It's Senator Enyinaya Baribe and Chief Dan Olasi that have stuck their necks out for Nnamdi Kanu. But they expected to. Where Nnamdi Kanu's help has been coming more from significant voices is outside Igbo land. Yet you have Igbo bigots that will stand up and want to choke me for talking about Yoruba progressives. This episode today is about Yoruba progressives and Igbo bigots. I want to share so many voices of Yoruba progressives speaking up for Igbo causes, but more importantly, speaking up for Nigeria causes. And in between, I'm going to throw in non-Yoruba voices, but significant Nigerians. But every time the Igbo bigots talk, we want Biafra, we want Biafra. I too want Biafra. If Nigeria would not be fair and equitable, I want Biafra. But until we get to that point where we have Biafra, we have to live in peace with every other Nigerian that inhabits that space called Nigerian, regardless of what the bigots are doing, regardless of what the Yoruba bigots are doing in Lagos. But when you talk about Yoruba bigots, do you look in the mirror? Do we, as Igbos, look in the mirror and see that there are Igbo bigots that are also part of the reason why we have difficulty trying to unite? Because even when you have these non-Igbo progressives fighting the Igbo cause on behalf of Igbos, speaking the Nigerian truth, speaking truth to power, how do you think a Dele Farotimi or a Rufai Oseni or a Yemi Adamolekun or a Sheung on Channels TV or Maokwe Ogun or Mayegun on Political General or Mayegun General? Mayegun is always defending the Igbo cause. Mayegun is always speaking up for Nnamdi Kanu. How do you think they feel? And so many. Dele Momodu, yes, he's not Yoruba, but he spent a lot of his life in Yoruba land. Many Aisha Yesufu, and all those Fulani Hausa people that helped Peter Obi during the election and stuck their neck out, living in the war front in northern Nigeria and speaking truth to power. How do you feel when you brush that broad brush across and call all of them anti-Igbo? I want to bring you voices, short segments of voices of non-Igbos, mainly Yorubas, speaking out on behalf of Igbos. And down the line, I'm really going to address the Igbo bigots and their our way or no way, my way or no way. Nobody makes sense unless it's the way the Igbo bigots want it. And their bigotry is not even just against non-Igbos. Their hate also gets into their fellow Igbos for standing up and speaking up about how to live and let live. No, they want to choke you. You dare not talk about live and let live in Nigeria. It has to be the Igbo way or nothing. No, it doesn't have to be the Igbo way or nothing. It has to be the fair way or nothing. Fair for Igbos, fair for Yorubas, fair for liberal progressive Fulanis, fair for Hausas, fair for Edos, fair for Efiks, Ibibios, Ijos, Edomas, Thieves, and every other Nigerian in between. It has to be about fairness for everybody. Until we get fairness for everybody, we are never going to see that day when we can truly live and say in earnesty, fellow countrymen and women. We'll only be saying it in lip service. And that lip service is what continues to kill us in Nigeria. We go to parties, we eat together, we dance together, we drink together, yet we hate each other. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Listen to these litany of voices, non-Igbo voices, fighting the Igbo fight, speaking the Igbo words, and speaking up and crying for a fair Nigeria.
Whatever happened in the 60s between Saldana, Awolowo, and Zik, please, we need to heal from all those things. Whatever happened with Lancaster House stock, which I know was a very big turning point with the start of the problems and people being booed, we need to be able to heal. Whatever happened also in the Civil War, we need to be able to heal. This ethnic bigotry is too much. It will divide, it's dividing us already.
Right.
And that's why we can't collectively speak as one. What is wrong with wearing a siagu? Oh, but these same bigots did not speak when they served kilishi and zobo on that flight. Really? Is this what we've become now? A man has gone ahead to make Nigeria proud. The attire is from Nigeria. We ought to be celebrating that. That's putting more money to our local manufacturing sector. The next thing, people are saying, why must it be Isiagu? Because they have their own ethnic leanings. Must we always think like this? And I'm sorry for this country because, see, a lot of people will say these are just banters on Twitter, but you'll be shocked how tribalistic most of the elite class in this country are. We will never continue this way. We can never get anything out of our life this way. Somebody prominently, Dr. Newton Jibono, a very close friend, dear to me, like a father to me, gave me akocha, a material that that is indigenous to, Delta Igbo area and everything. And I wear that material with a lot of pride.
Right.
So it doesn't matter where you are from. I cannot be tribalistic. My half sister is a Shekiri. I tie George, I tie Iro. The truth is, let us look beyond all of this and celebrate the episode.
It hurts me to hear such an honest, heartfelt appeal from somebody that I know fights my fight. And still my own brothers and sisters who love him, because many of them are quick to share Rufai, banter, and the things Rufai is saying. Oh, they love it. But Rufai is not in isolation. Rufai is a Yoruba man. And you can't love Rufai and hate his people. Because what that does is make Rufai look stupid for standing up for you. I believe Rufai. I believe that he takes pride in our culture. I believe he takes pride in George. And I don't want to pat myself on the back. It's the same way that I take pride in the Yoruba culture. I take pride when I wear the Yoruba style. Sometimes I intentionally wear it on my show, and people say, is he Igbo or is he Yoruba? Why do I have to choose? Isn't it obvious that I'm Igbo? But what's wrong with loving the culture of the people I grew up in their neighborhoods? A lot of us spoke out about the nonsense people were saying about Isiago Airpeace having its crew members wear Isiago, but none spoke out against it more eloquently than the next person I'll show you. And again, he's a Yoruba man. To the Igbo bigots who can't stand anything Yoruba, here is a Yoruba man.
A lady stepped forward and she introduced herself to me as an executive director of the airline. Young, very vibrant lady, and she said her name was Nena. She offered to pay the cost, and I said, no, you don't do that. This is not about the money, it's about the principle that I can see this third-party company trying to frustrate the efforts of Airpeace. I think it was at that point that she told me that her name was Nena and that her surname was Onyema. So I thought, okay. And she said, oh, that she's the daughter of the chairman of the Airpeace. I have to say, she was very professional, she was very kind, and she obviously knows her onions. When it comes to customer services and operations, she did the right thing. She did everything by the books. I also met another lady called Tony Olajide. She's the chief operating officer on ground. These ladies did all that they could do. All that in textbook terms was needed to be done to make that flight leave the grounds on time. But you know what? I stood there and I laughed because I saw how they had planned beforehand to really frustrate those efforts. Do you know that it was the night before the check-in that they communicated to Airpeace that they were changing the check-in desk, and they changed it from a fully operational one to one that didn't have an operational conveyor belt. I mean, let's think about this. Airpeace did everything right. Their communications was bang on. They informed us 3 days before, 2 days before, on the day itself, that they were going to open the check-in desk at 7:40. They were looking to close the check-in desk at 9:40, and they were looking for the flight to leave and to take off on time. They did everything by the books. So my advice to Chief Onyema and his operations crew is that they should not see this as a business-to-business fight. This is a government-to-government fight. It's a British government establishment versus the Nigerian government establishment fight. Chief Onyema needs, in addition to the Minister of Aviation, and I'm not saying he's not doing what he's supposed to do, I'm sure he is, but he needs two other ministers behind him. He needs the Minister for Trade, Industry, Trade and Investment, and he needs the Minister for Foreign Affairs. So these two ministers, together with the Minister for Aviation, hold the key to unlocking access to the UK airspace for Nigerian operators. They have to stand behind Alex Onyema. They have to stand beside Airpeace. So literally, it's in our own interest to make sure that we see Airpeace succeed. Please, let's do that. Let's stand behind one of ours.
The more I listen, the more I want to cry. I hope you heard what he said. It's in our own interest to make sure that Airpeace succeeds. Let's stand behind one of ours. He didn't say let's stand behind an Igbo man. This is the thought process Nigerians need. Igbos, Yorubas, Fulani. The day we understand that there are more things that unite us than things that divide us, and the day we understand that we can do better as an equitably run, united Nigeria than we can do as a Biafra or Dudua or Niger Delta, the day we understand that, the day we'll take our place on the world stage, because we are not going to go seeking them out. They will come to us because they know that the resources and the brains are in Nigeria. And those brains can be better galvanized when they work together as one people. By the way, you ain't heard nothing yet. I'm just trying to feed you a dose of non-Igbos speaking up for Igbos. Listen to another woman. Nobody paid them a penny to say what they're saying. They're saying it out of the patriotism of fighting for one Nigeria that is fair to everybody. Listen to this lady, and I'm speaking to Igbo bigots, so that at least you respect yourself and stop coming to my inbox to tell me nonsense about you don't know who Yoruba people are. You don't. I have more problems, and you, as an Igbo bigot, you have more problems with Igbo people on a daily basis than you have with Yoruba people, because you rarely see Yoruba people anyway, except when you hear the bigoted ones saying what they are saying. The last person that pissed you off was an Igbo person. The next person very likely that will piss you off is an Igbo person, because you live amongst them. The same thing applies to the Yoruba bigots. Your problem is not an Igbo man. Your problem is a fellow Yoruba person on a daily basis.
Look for your agent and start booking your Air Peace flights. Now we must patronize our own local. Commissioners, senators, governors, patronize our own. So please, to build a greater Nigeria, if we know that we are tired of this dollar crisis and exchange crisis, why would you not want to patronize the local airline? Our own. It is for we, designed for we, made to serve us and make life easier for us. Are you not getting on that air flight? I swear, as I go miss that inaugural flight, now you go pay me. Baba Shabi, make sure you join that inaugural flight. We must patronize our own. We must support our own. We will eat our local food. We will be able to mingle, at least enjoy ourselves, and know that we are promoting Nigeria. And that is what I want you to do. Go and fly Air Peace. Call your agents. Be on the Air Peace flights. It is a step to a greater Nigeria. Thank you all. My name remains Just Padito. And you know I will do anything to support the growth of our motherland. Ile mama waniyo, ile baba waniyo, ile oyi, ile wara. Nigeria is our own.
Hopefully you're getting my drift. Now I'm going to feed you a back-to-back-to-back sound bites of non-Igbos projecting Igbo-ness, fighting on behalf of Igbos against the atrocities that Igbos experience. What I'd like to see is more Igbos coming out on TV and talking about the progressive Nigerians and how they are trying to unite Nigerians. I'd like to see more Igbos talking about progressive Yorubas. I know we have Yoruba bigots, but we also have Igbo bigots. We also have Fulani bigots, but all Fulanis are not bigots. Just listen, but a little musical segue before we get there.
I believe everybody's fed up with APC. What have they done for the people? They have impoverished the people. They have driven businesses away to other countries. So what is the benefit to the other ordinary person? People are starving. Very few people can even afford 1 square meal a day in Nigeria today.
When we think of the politics of elimination, We remember our nation's unresolved political assassinations and the lingering questions they elicit. Who killed Funsha Williams? Who killed Bola Ige? Who killed Marshall Harry? Who killed Victoria Chintex? By eliminating opponents, the practitioners of the policies of elimination deprive the nation of leaders who are, more often than not, better than themselves. Politics of entitlement. This is the Milokon type of politics that insists on one's turn even if circumstances do not align. Politics of entitlement also manifests as perennial candidacy, not with the intent to serve, but to gratify long-term personal ambitions. It could also manifest as insistence on a given political office as a reward for what one considers a lifetime of sacrifice to the nation. Politicians with a sense of entitlement evade political debates. They do not consider it imperative to communicate with the electorate. Entitlement politics will breed an imperial presidency that is distant from the people and has no sense of responsibility or accountability to the people. Such imperial governance will slide towards dictatorship and will be intolerant of dissent.
He's not speaking about an Igbo person. He's not speaking about an Ijaw person. Use your teeth to count. Use your tongue to count your teeth. There's nothing wrong with collaboration with anybody else you've had disagreements with in the past. The first soundbite I played was Rufai saying it's time to leave Zeke, Awolowo, and Ahmadu Bello out of this. Think about the living. How can the living live together?
Peter Obi is the X variable, the one they didn't plan for or expect. They never planned for him. The assumption was that we will be snookered into a choice between stupid and evil. He was always going to be between Atiku and whoever the APC was going to throw for. The APC deliberately waited for PDP to confirm his candidacy before presuming to bring out his own. They never factored in an Obi candidacy or a movement evolving around his candidacy. The polls are not even reflective of the truth.
It's so disgusting that in this time of our nation, where Nigeria is bedeviled by so many things, insecurity, the economics is bad, the whole indices were going downward. Some people are still playing the religious card and they're still playing the tribal card.
But as a
How can anybody say an Igbo man cannot be president of Nigeria and I will accept it? Then it shows how brainless I am. These are people endowed. They are as brilliant as the Chinese, the Koreans, and the Indians put together. We have them. Why are we not using them? But because there was a civil war before, and we said we have forgiven ourselves, and now, but you are forgiving yourselves, but an Igbo man cannot become anything in Nigeria, cannot be president, cannot be trusted to be Inspector General of Police, cannot be trusted. Why? So if you don't want them, if you don't trust them, and they say they want to go, then so why are you then stopping them? Why are you stopping them? You don't want me, and you are saying, even slaves got freedom.
You are supporting Peter Obi.
Of course.
What's the reason for your supporting Peter Obi?
Reason plenty. If I'm going to tell you the reason for supporting Peter Obi, I think it will take us up to 2 months because the reasons are so many. What make me to support Peter Obi is because of the condition we find ourselves. I, as an elderly woman, if I did not get up and do the rightful, God is going to ask me. Now, there is one thing I want everybody to understand. What I want us to understand is that they said this Nigeria belongs to all of us. Hausa people have been ruling for over how many years? Yoruba people have been ruling for over how many years? Now the Igbo people have not been given access into the Nigeria movement. I'm solidly standing by him because I have seen the vision where God is going to use this man to take Nigeria to. I have seen it as of my age. I have seen where this man, Peter Obi, is going to take us to. Yes. Because all other people, they have failed. They have woefully failed.
So what are you telling Nigerians?
What I'm telling Nigeria is that we have to make up our mind, put all what these people have put us into in Nigeria. Let us put it aside and let us join our hands together and take this man to the villa to represent us. You understand what I mean? Since they will not give it to him unopposed, as of my own suggestion, if everybody should accept my suggestion, Peter Obi is supposed to be unopposed. He's not supposed to contest for what? What is he contesting for? You don't understand what I mean? He's supposed to be given unopposed. So every Nigerians who want to come out of this sympathetic situation that this government has put us should simply go and vote for Peter Obi.
You won't vote for Peter Obi?
Peter Obi, he put a good pass there.
How you take no say Peter Obi good pass them?
Peter Obi is a small boy.
He be small boy, eh?
He gets sense. That one they don't hold.
He gets sense.
They don't hold.
But you na Hausa, why you don't go vote for Atiku?
No, I'm not Atiku.
You don't want Atiku?
They be bad people, no man there.
They be bad people?
Yes.
Why you don't want vote for Tinubu?
Tinubu, you don't hold.
You don't hold?
No way.
You know where?
I go sick.
If they sick, okay. Now I want make you go. So
if they shake like this.
If they shake body. So now.
Ni ma amani rigan ni ma Peter Obi kin zaba kai ma Peter Obi aka zaba alfa lallai yawa to bismillah ba ko mun kenan ni ma shi kin zaba yayi daidai yawa ai tafiyar Labour Party dole sai da matasa Labour Party yayi daidai alfa yawa alfa sai da dadi ya mu shaida Peter sai aiki a Labour Party Najeriya sai Peter
ya ku yan Najeriya ina yan arewa siyasa ba addini bace siyasa ba kabilanci bace ya kamata mu fuskanci inda duniya ta dosa siyasa neman yancin kai ne ina uwar gida ni dai na faɗa
ni ma na ce
ina ariyan nan ni ma na faɗa Najeriya
sai Peter
Najeriya
sai Peter
da shi da wannan bawan Allah Dr. Ahmad ubangiji Allah ya ba su sa'a
Allah ba da nasara
Labour Party
Allah ba
uwar gida mu je cikin gida na kina ina mu je tukunna.
Now, listen to this segment as it's introduced by Arise TV's Ojiokbe. But listen to Yemi Adamolekun. Just listen to her. Yemi has been consistent even before this last election. She speaks truth to power. And what I like about her is when Igbos do their own nonsense, she'll stand up as a Yoruba woman and condemn it. She's equal opportunity. She will condemn right on the Igbo side, wrong on the Igbo side, and condemn wrong on the Yoruba side. There are good Nigerians, guys. Let's leave this bigotry alone. This country can work if we all put our hearts to it.
We were promised free, fair election by this government. Is this election free and fair? Well,
I think it's really very critical, not just security agencies, but really under that, the chief security officer of the state, which happens to be the governor. Now, you mentioned what happened with the Labour Party. There are 5 local governments in Lagos that there have been either statements or allegedly that there will be different festivals to keep I mean, the one, for example, for Ikorodu, the flyer that came out said not original Yoruba. I wonder what a fake Yoruba person is. And then you have your point about MC Oluomo. I think what's critical about MC Oluomo, not only his antecedents as a head of the NURTW in Lagos and things that he's been alleged to have done, but also the fact that at this particular moment, he's a staff of Lagos State government. Again, another opportunity for the Lagos State government to speak very clearly. His statement on the video was not only stay home if you're not voting APC, he also said in Yoruba, basically, if the vote is not going our way, you know what to do. And there were reports about an APC rally in Acme 2 days ago or yesterday where the same things were being said. And that the fact that, for example, in Etiosa, it was because the military came out that they were unable to do what they wanted to do. Now, these are real concerns by agencies of the Lagos State government. And then the third thing that Lagos State also hasn't spoken to is its own actions in telling civil servants to bring, they wanted photocopies of the polling PVCs. They were listing out people's polling units so they can check if you delivered your polling unit. I said this last time that I was here. At the presidential election, one of the polling units in the Etiosa area, one of the gentlemen that was seen to have come in to disrupt with others was an official of a Lagos State agency. So I think this morning, my message quite clearly, in addition to security agencies, is to the Lagos State government, or more directly actually, to the governor of Lagos State. You are not governor of APC members, you are not governor of Yorubas, you are governor of Lagos State. And it is critical as we go to...
Now, this is Fowles, the son of Femi Falana, one of Nigeria's foremost lawyers. Femi is Yoruba, his wife is Yoruba. Fowles, their son, is full-fledged Yoruba. Here he is defending Peter Obi's rights.
You serve the talk when we protest the shot. Make we carry PVC, make we see what thing goes up. Suddenly, it's kata, area boy, Tijagba, Asole, Dejapa, Olokpa, the guy down. You are you, the number, the potter, the shutdown. You drop us the lamba, somebody.
Fowles, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And you have taken to social media to express your dissatisfaction with the emergence of Bola Tinubu as the president-elect. You also said that the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was not elected but selected himself. Tell us why the process by which they emerged as winners has incurred your displeasure.
To say the least, the rules and regulations that were supposed to guide these elections were not applied, quite simply. The INEC chairman himself, prior to the elections, had come out and released these regulations and said, this is the way we are going to run these elections. And then by the time that these elections were then happening, suddenly, we're seeing this process that is so not transparent and exactly the opposite of what you said it was going to be. And, of course, people are going to raise eyebrows. Of course, everyone is going to be like, what is going on? So, that was pretty much, how it happened. And it was clear from all that there was some foul play involved.
Now, listen to this segment. And even before we do that, I want to say this. The best documentary I've ever seen on Marzio Khan, one of Igbo's premier all-around show business people. The best documentary I ever saw in his life was not done by an Igbo person. It was done by a Yoruba person. I can't find that documentary, so I can't share. The same applies to Chinua Achebe. The best documentary that I've ever seen on the life of Chinua Achebe was not done by an Igbo person. It was done by a Yoruba person. Now, I want to show you a little report done on an Igbo inventor by a Yoruba person. I'm just trying to say that, folks, if we work together, there is no Igbo-Yoruba boundaries. The reason we have boundaries is that we have Igbo bigots that will choke people like me, try to shut me up before I say Yoruba progressives. And you have Yoruba bigots that will threaten everybody in sight to subdue them just to paint Igbos black. We can't let divide and conquer agents continue to divide us.
Power outage and blackout. 26-year-old Emeka Nelson may have found light at the end of the tunnel. Motivated by the death of his friend caused by generator fume poisoning, Emeka decided to produce a generator that runs on water. Is this mission impossible? Let's find out.
Welcome to Anambra in southeast Nigeria. I am in Awka, the state capital, to tell the story of a young man whose invention could attract global attention. Nelson is not a certified engineer, has no university education, yet he dreams of making positive worldwide impact. This may look like a scrapyard, but it is Nelson's comfort zone where he thinks out of the box. Structural drawings and designs are clipped to the wall, and like a religion, Nelson's devotion is wholehearted. For 16 consecutive years, he has committed himself to making his dream turn to reality. He wanted to make a generator that runs on water.
During my JS3, that was the first ever one that was able to give me AC volt, which is 220 volt.
Most of the materials for making his generator were sourced from junkyards. His first prototype exploded when it was tested. This cast a shadow of doubt on his project.
People never believed it's possible.
After years of toil, he earned his eureka moment. One night in his laboratory, he says, he got his design right and his generator finally worked. Talk me through what you have here.
Okay, first of all, this is just the control panel.
Okay.
This is our output. Whatever the generator brings out, we receive it from here.
Okay.
Then this is just the casing covering the whole stuff.
That's a gas cylinder.
It's a gas cylinder that I turned into, even the turbine, everything is inside here.
The turbine is in there.
It's in here.
Great.
Then here we have the water. This replaces the water tank. Okay. Then we have your pump. The water just goes into this machine through here and through here. Okay. Then it returns back
so the
through
turbine
here.
Then turns the water in the tank.
Yeah, it comes back through here.
Okay, so where does the energy come from? How do you generate the energy?
The energy actually comes from this battery. First of all, is a starting point. I need to plug in this battery to the machine, connect it to the machine. Then I want to start it. It brings out another power that recharges the battery.
Nelson has just shown me what goes into his generator and now it works. Now I want to practically just try out if indeed this generator would work.
So this is our water here. Oh, this is a drinking water.
Nelson says his generator has maximum output capacity of 1000 watts and his voltage fluctuates between 220 and 240. He says a liter of clean water could power it for 6 hours. It has zero emissions and it is environment friendly. Beyond just testing Nelson's generator in his laboratory, we have decided to come and see if it could potentially power an entire room, and that is what we're about to do now. Nelson might just have developed an alternative to fossil engines which contribute to global warming.
What Nelson has been able to do is to use the normal water, inside a simple tank Now, using a DC generator to be able to pressurize the water enough to be able to drive that turbine. It drives the turbine at 860 RPM. So that, for me, is a big deal.
Nelson has brought out this project using the principle of electromagnetic induction by Faraday. Faraday actually states that an electricity, or what we call an electromagnetic force, is induced when a coil is made to pass through changing magnetic field.
For 6 hours, the generator would power different household appliances that fall within its 1,000 watts capacity. After this comes its downtime.
It is not about structural defect or maybe a kind of error in the concept. So it might be because of the nature of the components, which of course can be improved upon.
What we have seen in this project has no danger as of now. No gas emission, like our regular carbon monoxide that will come out from our I Pass My Neighbor 1 kVA generator.
In 2018, his mini hydropower project won him a second place in the Anambra State Talent Exhibition program.
So I agree that it's really an innovation and it's something we must have to take up and not just let it die.
Nelson might have just started a journey to providing solutions to problems limiting development across some African communities.
Nelson has produced a prototype of his hydropower generator. He said his dream is for the generator to be in millions of homes across the world. Right now, the prototype is undergoing tests and evaluation. Abayomi Adisa, Gist Nigeria.
Now listen to this Arise TV reporter. She's a young lady. Her father is Ichekiri, her mother is Yoruba. Listen to her reaction to the bigoted legislation that the Lagos State House of Assembly passed or was going to pass recently.
When this particular story hit the headlines on Tuesday, I was genuinely flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that following the bigotry and the tear in the veil when it comes to ethnicity, during the 2023 elections, we saw that push where a lot of non-indigenous, and I'm using that, that word very lightly, non-indigenous Lagosians were stopped from casting their votes because they were not originally from, because their claims that they're not originally from here. Now we've been able to get through that. We're here now. President Bola Tinubu has been inaugurated. He's the president. And I was thinking that the Lagos State House of Assembly would be focused on healing and trying to bring Lagosians together. However, this statement that has been put out by the speaker, this is his third time in office. He's been re-elected and now tugging at the strings of what does that even mean? That they're going to change the laws, they're going to reverse certain laws, economic laws, and property laws for Yoruba people. My mother is a Yoruba. She's from Ogun State, Abeokuta. We've been living here for a long time. My father is from Delta State, Ishekiri. So does that mean I'm going to get one leg in, one leg out because I'm half Yoruba, half Ishekiri? What does that mean? And then when you look at the Constitution, it states there clearly that no Nigerian, while in Nigeria, can be discriminated on as a result of ethnicity or tribe or even where you fall in the economic bracket. It is there in the Constitution. So I don't understand how somebody that understands the law, that is in charge of what is even the function of the legislature, Mr. Steve? Isn't it to protect the peace and the order, of Nigerians? Is this in itself protecting the peace and order of Nigerians? I'm very upset at this. I'm hoping that the other members of the House or House of Assembly do not take this particular bill likely. And apart from that, it is important to note that Lagos is filled with different tribes and different ethnicities. There are people that have been here even longer than the head of the Lagos State House of Assembly, and they've all donated to the excellence of Lagos State. So it's very unfair to now come and say that, oh, this is Yoruba land. We've moved on from this. This is not the kind of laws or the kind of news that we should be hearing. There's so much happening. There's insecurity in the state. Right now, it's raining cats and dogs. If you go to major places in Lagos, we have flooding problems. Why are we not talking about legislation on climate control? Why are we not talking about legislation on insecurity? It's now they're saying that they want to translate the laws into Yoruba. How about we take those Yoruba translations back to the curriculum and teach the primary school students and secondary students their actual their languages? You see, I'm just thinking about this. When I saw this.
What are you upset about?
I'm upset at the fact that this ethnic veil that persons are trying to push, especially in Lagos State, is very unfair. There are people that Igbos, Hausas, Fulanis, whatever, that have been in Lagos for a very long time. Are you going to now say that because they are not Yoruba, you're going to take away their lands?
Now again, here is Yemi Adamolekun again. You heard her earlier, you hear her again. She's Yoruba, not Igbo, speaking up for Igbos and speaking up for Nigeria on religious intolerance. Just listen.
The comment around ethnicity and religion, Malam El-Rufai's comments from Kaduna, and I think two interesting ones. El-Rufai's comments around religion in Kaduna, and the Speaker of the House in Lagos comments around ethnicity in Lagos. While his comments, people have responded that it will be unconstitutional, but I think the audacity that we have created, where elected government officials are boldly making statements to incite around religion and ethnicity, that we started with elections and we have continued into this administration, is certainly raising red flags that we need to be aware of. And we need to speak about and not just hope it would be swept under the table. I saw your comments, for example, on the morning show when we were talking about El-Rufai's comments. Everybody was expecting him to say, oh, that was not me. It was artificial intelligence. I didn't say that. He hasn't denied it, and nothing has happened. That's a problem.
Well, let me conclude with this video. And it's a video about justice and injustice. It's food for thought.
You there, second desk, blue jacket. What is your name?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis, please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone? Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself. And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice. It's about standing up for each other. Every day an injustice happens in business, sport, or on the tram. I am here to teach you the power of your voice. I want you to learn critical thinking to empower you to stand up for what is right, even if it means going against what everyone else is doing.
That's exactly my message today. Folks, doing what I do is not easy. close friends wonder why. My family wonders why. We all have our callings. Some of us are called to be great politicians, humanitarian politicians. Some of us are called to be great doctors. Some of us are called to be great businessmen. Some of us are not perfect, but even in our imperfections, we are called to speak truth to power. Of all the things that people do in life, the category that I fall into is that category that speaks truth to power. Sometimes, if not many times, to the detriment of my own immediate well-being. Deciding to speak to Igbo bigots today is not the easiest decision to make, but it's the right decision to make. Because too often we talk about the atrocities that have been committed against Igbos in Nigeria. Believe me, I'm not blind to that. I've spoken about many of those atrocities, and none of them are lies. Nigeria still needs to wake up to its responsibilities and its realization. But those atrocities against us does not justify us to turn around and be bigoted to other people from other parts, and even be bigoted to ourselves. Over the last few years in Igbo land, you've had this sit-at-home nonsense going on. It's lightened up lately, but sit-at-home hasn't hurt any Yoruba person or any Fulani person or any white person visiting Nigeria to spend money in Nigeria. Sit-at-home has hurt no other than Igbos. We've had this agitation for Biafra. God knows that I have been agitating for Biafra, telling Nigeria that if they're not going to do right by the Igbos, for God's sake, let the Igbos go. But as we agitate for Biafra, one of our biggest obstacles may not be the Fulani man. It may not be the Yoruba man. Our biggest obstacle may be Igbos against Igbos. The Igbos that are called Ekwemetas, the my way or no way, our way or no way Igbos, versus Igbos who have other ideas on how to achieve Biafra. So while the main noise may be bigotry, Igbo bigotry against Yorubas, Yoruba did this, Yoruba did that, Fulani did this, Fulani did that. That bigotry is not strange or stranger to fellow Igbos. The appeal that I make is that more Nigerians, but in this case, more Igbos need to speak truth to power. More Igbos need to look Igbo bigots in the face and tell them that they are bigoted. And the thing about bigots, whether they are Yorubas or Igbos, is that they are in the minority, but they are usually very loud. I just showed you a litany of voices agitating for Igbo fairness to Igbo people. So many of them Yorubas. Yet the Igbo bigot does not believe that a Yoruba progressive or a fair-minded Yoruba person exists. And the same Igbo bigots are always singing praises of Dele Farotimian, Dele Momodu. Dele Momodu is not Yoruba, but just like me, he has a lot of Yoruba in him. That's where he grew up. singing praises of Sheung on channels, singing praises of Rufai Oseni, singing praises of Ojiokwe, who is Igbo from Delta, but still sticking her voice out on Arise TV. Not necessarily her voice out, but you could tell that she speaks truth to power. Ayo on Arise TV. We're very proud of the things they do to say things that are good for us. Why is it so easy for us to just paint a broad brush about their people? Bode George has spoken about the atrocities of the last few years. Pa Adebanjo has spoken about the atrocities of the election. President Olusegun Obasanjo is not a perfect person, far from it, but he has spoken about fairness in Nigeria. Dati Ahmed has spoken about fairness in Nigeria. Aisha Yesufu has spoken about fairness in Nigeria. It's time for bigots all across Nigeria to be stood up to. For a lot of months now, I've been standing up to Yoruba bigots. Today and for the next few episodes, I will be standing up to Igbo bigots. We need a Nigeria that works for everybody. Nigeria cannot work if Nigeria is infested with bigots. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV. And until next time, good night and God bless.
Ndababa
Aije kele ndenwe egwu
Ndababa Ndababa
Ndekara ka mo yeye
Ndekara Anajari shugo muno tulaji
Kaikene Fred Nwankwo Ezudo Eze Nwankwo si ajalebia Publisher African Lifestyle Magazine Chicago Nwankwo ndị Chicago ji ejemba
Ndababa
Aije kele ndenwe egwu
Ndababa Ndababa
Ndekara ka mo yeye
Ndekara Anajari shugo muno tulaji